Thank you, Raymond. And thanks, everyone, for coming down today. I want you to know that just to be doubly safe, I got a vaccine in each arm. It's always a pleasure to speak at this university. Of course, I always get lost coming down here, but today it was easy because I just had to follow the chemtrails right down Island to Nanaimo. I broke that story with Art Bell in January '98, and of course they're still going on. Perhaps if we have time for questions, we can get into that at the end of my presentation. Otherwise, please go to my website, willthomasonline.net, and you can check out the latest in nano chemtrails and other interesting things going on in that covert operation. I mentioned it's always a pleasure to speak here, but today I have to say I'm not so sure. I never get a headache, but I'm starting to get a headache. My ears are ringing. I suspect my sperm count is dropping sharply. And I also suspect it has something to do with people at the ferry landing on Denman who said, oh, you can't miss it. The room, it's just under that big cell phone tower. That big microwave tower. That's insane, of course, for an Institute of Higher Learning to zap the brains of people trying to learn, but it seems somehow fitting to a presentation today. Thank you. I like to speak without notes, but unfortunately it's impossible today because I've got all these numbers. I've got so many numbers, and if I get one number wrong, someone from the industry will come up and say, look, I got numbers, look at my numbers. We got microvolts and microwatts and milliwatts and what. And my attitude is, as long as we're comparing the same things, the same measurements, let's just call them chocolate chip cookies. Because, folks, it's not about numbers. It's about common sense. Look around you. We have thousands of years of human experience and expertise in this room right now. I think together we can figure this thing out. The subject is also about remembering who we are. Human, spirit, people. We are electrochemical beings of light. I mean that literally. Just a few months ago, scientists in Japan, using a cryogenically supercooled CCD chip, managed to photograph little photons of light between human cells during the process of metabolism. And they said, hey, guess what? The human body really does directly and rhythmically emit light. Very weak light, very subtle light. And our cells are very subtly whispering right now as I speak. You know, we say we're interested in electromagnetics. It's like a fish saying I'm interested in water. Electromagnetics is one of the four strong forces of the universe. We have gravity, the weak and strong force, and we have electromagnetics. Right now, when we're listening and hearing about electromagnetism, we are using electromagnetic processes in our brain to take in and understand that information, and that information is stored in electromagnetic fields in our brains. So it all makes a circle. But these subtle whisperings between our many cells are very quiet. Perhaps 1/100th of a volt. And when we're chattering on our cell phones, our cells are trying to chatter at the same time. And they're saying, hey, want some more calcium? No, hold the calcium. If I get much more calcium, then I can't inhibit cell division and things might get a little out of control. So hold the calcium. How about some sodium? Okay, a little sodium's good. How about some serotonin? Yeah, that's really good. Makes me feel calm, focused, relaxed. Yeah, that's good. And of course, the serotonin makes melatonin in the pineal gland. And that not only helps us sleep when it's time to sleep, but melatonin inhibits breast cancer. Melatonin inhibits Alzheimer's disease. So yeah, carry on with the melatonin. Oh, there's a knock on the cell wall. What? Oh, that's a protein. They're good in the bloodstream, but they're bad in the cells and really bad in the brain. So keep that door closed to those proteins. And oh, by the way, somebody take out the trash. So that's what our cells are saying. or trying to say, until we turn on a cell phone, plug in a portable phone cradle, drive under, or hopefully not live near or sit under a microwave tower, and then we get, and no offense to heavy metal rock, but we get heavy metal music at full blast, and our cells are going, I can't think, I can't work, I can't communicate, I cannot function. So this really is the level of concern that we are addressing today, our fundamental nature as electrochemical beings, and the impact of much stronger electromagnetic radiation jackhammering our cells almost 24/7 in many cities. So let's take a step back to that common sense comment, and imagine for a moment that you happen to live in a society whose technological advances are the wonder of the world. Bold new realistic art adorns private and public buildings. Architecture is the envy of other nations. Even the sculptures are smiling. Theater presentations are free. Music is flourishing at religious events and orgies. You happen to be a member of an advanced market economy with all of its benefits. If someone wants to govern the people, they have to be elected. Laws are decided in the Senate, and judges enact those laws and interpret them in courts. So this is pretty far out. You've got technological superiority, concrete, durable buildings, road network, just about everywhere. And the most mind-blowing innovation of all, running water. In the 900 public baths in this city, and in almost every home, flush toilets and running water. It's absolutely incredible. It's revolutionary. And it's all because of that miracle metal that enabled the lead pipes to plumb the city-state called Rome 2,000 years ago. Well, unfortunately, health-wise, it turned out not to be such a good thing. In fact, it turned out to be the worst things the Romans could have done because, of course, it caused widespread lead poisoning. The consequences were not immediately apparent, so people carried on, but birth deformities increased, birth rates plummeted, and eventually a sickened and brain-damaged society degenerated. And Rome fell. There were other reasons, of course, but the pollution from all this lead plumbing was key in the fall of Rome. Does this sound familiar? Cell phones and wireless networks are our lead pipes. I'll quickly get my own bias out of the way. A decade ago, I owned a cell phone. I thought it was cool to have a Star Trek communicator in my hand. I thought it was miraculous. I could call virtually anyone, anywhere, anytime. And it was way cool until I started doing research and I wrote my first cell phone paper on cell phone health hazards. I got rid of that phone very quickly, I can tell you, 10 years ago, and I haven't had one since. I do admit that when there is no other alternative, I will make a very brief conversation on a cell phone or a portable phone, maybe twice a year. Now, I'll be the first to agree that microwave and RF radio frequency radiation from cell phones, portable phones, wireless routers, laptop computers, notebook computers, security scanners, RFID readers, radar guns, radars on the BC Ferry today, cell phone relay towers on top of this building, they pose zero danger, absolutely no danger at all to rocks. At least I think that statement's accurate. But if you happen to be a sperm cell, a fertilized ovum, pregnant woman, newly born infant, toddler, adolescent, teenager, or adult, regularly exposed to the invisible smog of the runaway wireless age, more than 1,500 published medical studies show that your mental, emotional, and physical health, not to mention your subtle energy body, are being permanently impaired by these invisible rays.